Hello friends, how are you? Today I wanted to show you how to make apple cider vinegar. It's super easy to make and there are like numerous health benefits to having fresh apple cider vinegar. But I have to tell you that for years I tried to do that apple cider vinegar in different ways and it never worked out for me. I got mold on the top and stuff like that. Finally I developed this method and it always works. Ever since I started using this method, I had 100% success. So I'm gonna share with you my method and how I improved it. I'm gonna give you some options, what you can use to make your apple cider vinegar. And it's just so good for us and I hope you're gonna benefit. I'm very grateful if you subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and let's do it. Alright, so my last vinegar, apple cider vinegar, was made from just frozen apple juice because I didn't have any apples. But this time I'm gonna make something super duper. I'm gonna use these really nice apples that are organic, and I'm gonna add a little bit of apple juice to just add a little bit more flavor to it. So it's gonna be like super nice. But if you want to make your own, you just can use apples without the apple juice, or you can just use apple juice. But using both will give me richer flavor and I'm hoping a nicer color. So let's do it. First of all, before you start doing any of this, make sure your hands are washed because you don't want to contaminate your apple cider vinegar, because what can happen is that like bacteria and funguses from the environment are on your hands, and then they will get to your vinegar and it will mold. So we're gonna take an apple and we're gonna use whole apple. Cut it in little pieces and then throw it in. Probably want to take away the stems. And if you see any like spot that is moldy or rotten, you need to cut it out. And don't take out the cores, because basically you can do apple cider vinegar just with the core and the skin. Now I cut my apples. I'm not gonna use all of them. I'm gonna use about half of this almost 3-gallon container. And then I'm gonna add 2 of those frozen juices. So I'm just gonna use 2 of these. They will add a nicer color and then they will just add a little bit flavor. Now I'm gonna add this 1 cup of apple cider vinegar that I saved from my last batch. If you don't have your batch, then you would just buy apple cider vinegar with mother and then use 1 cup of that store-bought apple cider vinegar and add it to your batch. It's very important to have 1 cup of apple cider vinegar either from the store with mother or from your previous batch, because otherwise you can run into problems. Now I'm gonna use water and sugar, and the proportion is 1 teaspoon of sugar for 1 cup of water. 1 gallon is 16 cups, so you would need to use 16 teaspoons, which is 1/3 of a cup of sugar. Do not use like tap water that hasn't been boiled. If you want to use tap water, you need to boil it to remove chlorine, because chlorine kills microorganisms and you're growing microorganisms. So you cannot use tap water that hasn't been boiled. I prefer to use distilled water. And you want to mix that. You want to dissolve that sugar in that water before you add it to your glass jar. Okay, so I mixed it, and now let's add this. So I added 1/2 gallon. I need to add 1 more 1/2 gallon. Here's another 1/2 gallon of water. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit more, not too much more, but just a little bit more. Another 3 cups of water here. And now, once you have everything here, give it a stir. Already has such a beautiful color just from that apple juice. And it will just get nicer from the apples. Okay, so we have everything ready. Now I just want to add the mother. And see, my mother is kind of a mess. I have all these new cultures growing, which I could add, but they kind of look messy, so I'm just gonna clean up my mother a little bit. A little cleaning. I'm gonna take off the older cultures, just peel them off as much as I can. Sometimes they peel easier, sometimes it's a little bit harder, but you can see the difference in color. See, the lighter are the newer ones and the darker are the older ones. We're trying to remove the older cultures and keep the newer ones. So this is my mother. It has nice consistency. It's uniform in texture and it looks very healthy. As I said, it was in my previous batch for 7 months. Didn't get moldy or anything, so all I need to do is just put it on the top. And that's it, I'm done. I'm gonna cover it with a cover so the flies will not get to it, and just make sure to label it. You have to label it, because if you don't label it, you're gonna forget 100%. So, and then keep it for like 2-3 months. Check if you like the flavor. I kept it for 7 months and I'm not proud of it, but I just didn't have time to do it. So that's why I kept it for so long. I would not recommend doing it. But keep it for 2-3 months and you have awesome apple cider vinegar. But what if you don't have such a mother and you still want to make your apple cider vinegar? And that's exactly what happened to me for the first time when I started making apple cider vinegar. I didn't have this beautiful mother. So I bought the apple cider vinegar from the store. It said with the mother on the bottle, and I used 1 cup of that store-bought apple cider vinegar with my first batch. Then what you do is you stir it every day, just once a day. You give it a stir. And then after a few days, when you come to stir it, you're gonna notice there's like a little film forming on the top. That's when you stop the stirring and just let it stand. And it's gonna grow this beautiful mother. It's gonna get this thick eventually. Takes time, but you don't need this thick. Like any thickness is fine. After 2-3 months, you can remove the apples and then drain your apple cider vinegar and enjoy all the health benefits. And what are the health benefits for me? I mean, they're awesome. You drink in the morning. You drink 1 cup of warm water with just 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and that helps you regulate your blood sugar. It helps you control like food cravings, so you're not eating as much. It controls the appetite. It detoxifies your body, which means it helps you remove all the things that should not be in our bodies, like the metabolism byproducts and the heavy metals and stuff like that. And it alkalizes your body. Even though it's acid, it helps you become alkaline, and that's the key to health. That's one of the keys to health. So it's like so good, so easy to make, and what's stopping us to make it? Alright, so you've done your apple cider vinegar and you let it ferment for a while, and it can be 2 months, 3 months. This one has been fermenting for like 6 months. So you're gonna see something really interesting, because the mother is like this thick. This is like really big mother, which mother is the bacteria, the colony of the bacteria who makes the apple cider vinegar. Notice there is this residue on the bottom, and that's yeast. And so we're gonna drain the middle portion and we're gonna save 1 cup for our next batch. So right now I'm gonna take out the mother that has been here for 7 months, and I don't recommend keeping it so long because the chance that it's gonna go moldy or something is really high. I was lucky, there's no mold, it's very healthy culture. So I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna save 1 cup of apple cider vinegar for our next batch, and preferably I'm gonna take one from the top. And then I'm gonna transfer the rest of the vinegar into the bottles, and I'm gonna keep them in a cold spot, cold place or refrigerator until I need to use it. Let's pull up our sleeves and get to work. Of course, whenever you touch a culture, you have to wash your hands. Make sure you wash your hands really well with soap and water. That's very, very important because you don't want to contaminate your culture. So let's take out our mother. So these are new cultures and this is older culture. So when you want to like rejuvenate your mother, you would pull off the bottom layer. For example, here, that would be this one. And leave it out and just use the top one for the new batch. I'm just gonna take 1 cup for my next batch. And then the rest I'm just gonna transfer to the bottles. And so this is how I make apple cider vinegar. I hope you liked it. I would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and enjoy your apple cider vinegar. Cheers!